So hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And we have an amazing speaker today, Iman El-Turki. She holds a PhD in Language Literacy and Technology from Washington State University and master's degree in TESOL from the University of California, Southern California. Iman has taught ESL and EFL for over 15 years in the United States and Libya, has held administrative positions related to curriculum assessment and accreditation. At Washington State University, Iman taught academic English for 10 years and served as Senior Associate Director of Academic Programs. She also taught K-12 teacher training courses in the College of Education at Washington State University. Iman moved to the Chicago area last year. Currently, she teaches in the English Language Studies program at College of DuPage and develops online TEFL training courses as part of the program that she co-founded for EFL Libyan teachers. So welcome, Iman. Thank you for agreeing to talk to our audience today. And the topic, I think, resonates with everyone. It is one of the most promising areas today, although I think it is the least kind of researched areas, right? Corpus-based language pedagogies. So yeah, over to you.
All right, so thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to spend some of this morning, it's evening for some of you, I know, with you and talking about one of my favorite topics. So the title of my webinar today is Corpus-Based Language Pedagogies, Resources and Applications. So the plan for today is, So first, I'm going to provide a very brief overview of corpus language pedagogies, some very brief background, and the advantages of using corpus resources in English language teaching and learning. And I'm going to spend the rest of the webinar talking or introducing 4 corpus platforms. So for each corpus platform, I'm going to introduce what it is, what each offers, how each works, and then I'm going to share sample tasks. So before we get started, I would like to hear from you. So if you could maybe use your phone.
Hello.
Maybe you can use your phone to access this QR code, that would be great. Or if you want to complete this over your computer, on your computer, here is a link in the chat. So it's a very quick question. It should take less than 1 minute. So if you could access that, that would be great. And then answer this question. Have you used corpus resources in your teaching? Okay. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. So, so far it says no. So, okay. So I'll give a few more seconds to hear from everyone, and then we'll move on. Okay, so some people are saying yes. All right, so thank you for sharing. If you got that chance to share, I'm going to go back to my slides. And so, so for the people who said that they have used corpus resources in their teaching, what have you used? So you could either type in the chat or maybe unmute and share very quick. That would be great. Okay. Never used. Okay, no worries. All right. So let's go into looking at some of the popular or the resources, the platforms that I have used myself. Okay, so maybe those would ring a bell for some of you. All right, so some Corpus resources and tools. The ones that I have used personally in my classroom are my Cusp, which is the Michigan Corpus of Upper Level Student Papers, my case, Michigan Corpus of Academic Spoken English, COCA, which is, I think, very popular, Corpus of Contemporary American English, the Sketch Engine for language learning. I have used a platform called CARE, Concordancer of Academic Written English, StringNet, Flax, and also I've used this software. It's a concordance software that you can download for free on your computer. And then you can either explore existing corpora, or if you build your own corpus, maybe from scripts from a textbook, you can investigate and explore the most frequent words or keywords. So the ones that I'm going to focus on are those four today. So it's going to be StringNet, CARE, MyCusp, and Flax. And the reason why, or the reasons for choosing those ones in particular, are because they're user-friendly. You don't need to create an account or log in to access those resources. So students can use as a dictionary. They're easy to navigate, unlike COCA. I've used COCA before, but sometimes especially for student access, they can do some searches and then like very minimum searches. And then they can't do any more searches for, I don't know how many, but about like 2 days or so. So it's harder to navigate. So those four are very easy to navigate and they're completely free. So, as I said, they can be used as a dictionary. So let's get started. So first of all, for anyone who doesn't know what a corpus is, a corpus is it's a Latin word, and it means body, and the plural form for corpus is corpora. The definition of a corpus in applied linguistics and corpus linguistics in general is a large principled collection of naturally occurring text, written or spoken, stored electronically. So we have a body of text, so a bank of text, and those are stored electronically, and then you can do some searches, inquiries, and to find frequency and to find other information. So let's see what the advantages are from using corpus in English language teaching and learning. So there are different advantages. Some of them are those resources provide access to authentic language. So students are exposed to real language in use and genuine examples. Unlike some textbooks that are written for English language learners, the language is authentic, it's real language. And as a result of that, students get the opportunity to enhance their noticing and analytical skills of different features like grammatical features, vocabulary, collocations, and formulaic sequences or language formulas. And this also promotes using or exposing students to such resources, promotes independent learning. So they know that those resources exist, and then they can go and confirm language use by using some of those tools. And of course, this would enhance learner autonomy. All right, so the first resource that I'm going to share with you today is StringNet. It's one of my favorites. So in the chat, I am going to share the links for the 4 platforms that I'm going to share with you today. So you have them. So here you go. So StringNet. So StringNet is a searchable English lexicogrammatical knowledge base it has about 2 billion engrams, engrams or formulaic sequences or language formulas. So sequences of words extracted from the British National Corpus. So StringNet offers access to patterns that tend to co-occur with the search word. So you put your search word in or phrase, and then you could see patterns for this, for the word. And mainly it provides access to collocations and formulaic sequences or language patterns. So this is the interface for StringNet. It's so neat and simple and very user-friendly. So you have two options here. You have patterns and collocations. And then you have search options. So for search options, it's basically if you chose to search patterns for your word, then search options, you can say the length of the sequence that you want your search word to appear in, maybe 2 to 3 or 5 to 6. Also the frequency, you can identify or specify the minimum frequency. So how does StringNet work? So here I'm sharing with you an example. So you type your search word here. So I want to see patterns with the word point. And then so you type your search word and I have patterns selected, and then you click search. And then you would have a list of patterns with your search word. So here we have point as a noun. You're given the frequency of this word. And then you have different patterns, like from the point of view of and then nouns, maybe Smith's point of view, and then singular noun. So you have different options here. And then if you click, all of those are clickable, the frequency numbers. So if you click on this one, this is the most frequent. And then if you click on this frequency number, then it gives you example sentences from the point of view. So you have your pattern or your formulaic sequence in a longer sentence in context. If we go back here, and then if you click on this pattern, the drop-down menu here, you can choose. So we have noun. This is what we have, the information. The data here is for point as a noun. Maybe you want to see a point as a verb. So if you click on this, then you would have point as a verb, and then you have different patterns. Be quick to point out, it should be pointed out that it's worth pointing out, and so on. So if we click on this one, it has it's with modal verb, adverb, be pointed out. So you would have sequences or formulas with this construction. So if we click on the frequency number here, you would have a different example. It may also be pointed out. It may now pointed out. It should also be pointed out, and so on. So here I am using another word, another search word. So I entered look to show you something here. So you have your sequence, your pattern. Some of those you can click on, like right click on. So if you do, for example, for forward here, then it gives you synonyms or other words that could replace the word in this sequence. So here we have forward as an adverb. So words that can replace forward here. So, but it's obviously from the numbers here, from the frequency numbers, we can see that forward, looking forward to is the most common. We have also, we can say looking ahead to, and so on. So this is another feature that I like in this tool. So now that was for patterns. Now I'm going to move on to collocations. So again, this is the main interface. So if you click or write your word, so here my search word is reliable, and I want to see some collocations that contain the word reliable. So I chose, clicked on collocations, and here if you click on search options, you can be more specific in your search. So here I want this platform to show me verbs before reliable, Where reliable, of course, if the word has multiple parts of speech, you can specify here. If your word is search word as a noun or as a adjective, but here reliable, it doesn't really matter. So here it says rank result by. So you have two options. You have frequency or mutual information. So you can have it listed your collocations by mutual information. I prefer to use mutual information because it's a calculation, it's a statistical calculation based on the number of times the pair kind of associated. So it's the degree or the amount of glue between the words, the amount of calculation. So it's how strong the association is between the collocation, the words in the collocation. So I prefer this one. And then if you click search, then you would be taken to another page that contain the data you're looking for. So obtain, reliable. So we have a verb plus reliable, prove reliable, provide, give reliable, make reliable, and so on. So if you click on more examples, you would be taken you will be provided with more context, your collocation in a complete sentence. So if we go back to the first page here, so here I said, now actually I want to look at nouns after reliable, not verbs before reliable. I want to see nouns that collocate with the word reliable. So here we have some information, reliable source, reliable method, guide, reliable data, evidence, and so on. So if you click on patterns with this collocation, it would actually take you to the patterns page. So now you have reliable evidence. So then you would have more patterns for this phrase. All right. So this was for StringNet. So I'm going to share with you two simple tasks. So this is one of the early tasks that I do with my students in my writing courses. So I familiarize them with the platform. So this is this task. In this class, you will be using the word author or authors or the last name of the authors, example Smith 2019, regularly when you write summaries and essays. Your task is to investigate frequent patterns that contain the word author and the words that occur with author. So, and then I try to give very specific and simple instructions. So go to this link, type author, and then select collocations and specify here verb after author, and then choose a mutual information and then hit search. So they do this, and then I ask them specific questions. So this usually is I give a worksheet so that they can record their findings. So choose 3 collocations that contain author plus verb and answer the following questions. In which part of the essay would you likely use each collocation? For example, would you use it in the conclusion, when you provide support, when you give examples, when you argue, and why? What words often follow the verb in your chosen collocations? What have you noticed about the grammar of these collocations? So as I said, I have them complete a worksheet and then put them in groups or pairs to share their findings together. This is another task, a sample task. And here we have language of argumentation. So writing argumentative essays is often an outcome in writing intermediate or upper level writing curriculum. So here again, provide them with the link, and then I ask them to research at least 3 of those chunks that would very likely be used or appear in argumentation or argumentative writing. So they do that, and then they analyze the utterances in which each chunk occurs in. And then I ask them to dig deeper, and if they can identify specific examples in which the writer in this corpus used to accomplish the following. When one of those was used to introduce a counter argument, an opposing argument, or concession, or refutation, and so on. And again, what do you notice about the structure of the sentence, including grammar and punctuation? All right. So this is a brief overview of StringNet. Again, it's very, for me, it's very useful, not only in my teaching, but for me, myself, when I write. So for example, I have it like bookmarked on my computer. So when I'm writing a research paper, for example, and I'm not sure whether it's in the light of or in light of, so I would consult StringNet, for example, and confirm. And sometimes you find both, and you look at the frequency, and then you can ask questions. So this is more common, and you do some research. And then, for example, in the case of in the light of and in light of, I found that in the light of is more common in British English, while in light of is more common in American English. So it's really, for my personal use, I found it very useful. Okay, so let's move on to the next resource, number 2, which is my Cusp, Michigan Corpus of Upper Level Student Papers. So my Cusp, it's a research project that was founded by the English Language Institute of the University of Michigan in 2004. It's completely free, it's user-friendly. Again, you don't need to create an account to browse my Cusp. It contains a collection of proficient academic papers from senior undergraduate and graduate students across various disciplines and offers different paper types. And so my Cusp, because of all this rich data, my Cusp is provides access to academic writing. So students can investigate language use based on paper type and or discipline. And they can also verify or explore how often a word or phrase used in a specific discipline. So this is the My Cusp interface. So you have here different paper types. So you have argumentative essays, creative writing, critique, research papers, and so on. You can, you also have the disciplines. So there are 16 disciplines in this resource. And then here, if you want to filter your search, you can filter, do more filtering. And then here you can filter by student level. So you can say, I just want to see senior undergrad, or I just want to see papers by graduate students. You can also filter by native English speakers, papers by native English speakers or non-native English speakers. So all of those papers are identified as proficient A papers. And then also you can say, oh, I want to, for my search word or phrase, I want to see how it's used in the literature review section, or how it's used in problem solution pattern, and so on. So you can do more specific searches. So I am going to explain those more in a minute, how to navigate those. So by sharing an example. So here I type possibly. So, and it's telling me that possibly occurred 180 times in 127 papers. And I didn't filter by discipline or paper types. I just typed and searched. So here you have, it gives you this figure or graph, gives you the distribution of your search word across disciplines. So you have two choices here. You have results by raw frequency. So if we look at the raw frequency here, we see that possibly is more frequent in biology. However, you can search by normalized frequency, which is more kind of accurate. So if we do that, then you can see that here it changed. So here we have economics. It's more common in economics. So the difference between a normalized frequency and raw frequency, the normalized frequency, it's again, there is a statistical calculation that takes into account how many texts are in the corpus, the length of each text, how many words. So it gives you kind of more accurate representation of the frequency of your search word than raw frequency. So and it also gives you information. So if you look at the pie chart here, distribution across paper types. So my search word possibly here, it says it's more frequent in reports and then argumentative essays than research papers. It's less frequent in response paper and proposals. So if you hover on any of those columns or bars, so it gives you, this changes, it's interactive. So now the focus is in economics. So in economics, we see that my search word is more common in research papers. So down under the graphs, under the figures, you have examples. So you will have your highlighted in context, your search word. So if you hover on your on the paper ID here, it gives you information about this paper. Like this one is from biology. It's written by a first-year graduate student, male, and then some of the features in the paper. So if you click on the link on, if you click on this, it takes you to the text, the complete text. So I like this. This is a kind of a cloud representation of the frequent words in this particular text. And then if you click here on view original PDF, you can save this as a PDF. So I have used it to, of course, have students research some words, look up some words. I've also used it to use some of those texts or essays to analyze, like for summary and critique. I've used the critique papers from here to look at, or argumentative essays. So because this is really cool, you can save the paper and then use it for other activities. So here are some sample My Cusp applications. So I have used it for different purposes, and this is one of the tasks. So each student would be assigned a related pair or related word or phrase to research using My Cusp. So I'm asking students to explore each word or phrase in terms of the differences in usages, location in the sentence, punctuation, and the part of speech of the word that comes after or before the search word. And then here I'm utilizing Blackboard discussion board. So I'm asking them to post their findings, including examples, in the Blackboard discussion board. So some of the pairs like however and but. When do we use each? How does the sentence look like when we use but? How does it look like when we use however, and so on? Although despite, the sometimes problematic, on the one hand and on the other hand, when do we use each? So this is a sample task. Another task in my graduate course at WSU, we teach bias. So there is kind of a learning outcome about bias in writing in general. So I utilize My Cusp for that purpose. So again, go to My Cusp, search the word bias, and then find examples of the word biased used in context and answer the following questions. What are some words that co-occur with the word bias? List 3 chunks. What type of bias does the writer identify? Provide examples from the text. And then I always, especially when I use this in my in the writing graduate writing course, I have them do a general search and then focus on their discipline. Then they filter by discipline, and then they can see and provide kind of make conclusions or observations about their discipline compared to a general search. How often if it's used, what kind of bias the author talks about in those papers, and so on. Okay, let me check the time. All right, so my third resource is CARE. All right, I like this one. It's very specific, this one. So I'm gonna talk about it more in a minute. So what's CARE? It's a concordance for EAP, for English for academic purposes, by the National Tsinghua University. It's a Taiwanese university, and this university is leading in corpus linguistics research, and they have developed this really amazing tool. So it offers access to authentic academic written texts. Because of that, because it offers authentic academic written text, it really provides students with the opportunity to notice, explore, and learn specifically rhetorical moves in research writing. So this is the focus of this platform. So rhetorical moves can be defined as linguistic patterns used by research writers to accomplish specific moves. And I'm going to show an example. So I use this one in particular, again, in one of my writing courses for grad students. So we used this textbook, Academic Writing for Graduate Students by Sales and Peak. And in this book, they introduced Wales-Carr's model, which is, CARS stands for Create a Research Space. So this is basically provides several moves. And this is based on actually corpus data. So they Swales examined an extensive body of research papers, and they found out that actually research writing is very calculated, is very linear. So there are specific moves. You can't find like a random sentence. Every sentence serves a purpose. So, and then by looking at the introduction section, they found that research writers take different steps to establish a territory. So they could claim centrality and or make topic generalizations and or review items of previous research, which is very, very common, right? The next move would be establishing a niche. So like, okay, so this is what has been done. However, there's this gap. So kind of you're justifying why you're doing this research. And then what you do is occupy the niche. So then, okay, so there's a lack of this, this lack in this area, or maybe there's this gap, or maybe this research has been done in certain countries, but not on those those countries. So here, then you outline your purpose, why you're doing this research. So I did seriously a random search in Google Scholar. So I went to Google Scholar and just, I think, I searched an article for like on teacher education, and I pulled one and I looked at the introduction. So this is really a clear example of those moves here, right? So look at those rhetorical moves or patterns. Research has shown that. So here you're kind of, providing some background information about the topic. The teachers are who are blah, 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 and then you're citing, right? And then, however, so here this is the niche you're trying to occupy, right? However, little is known about. So this is a formula that's very common in research writing. Given the consistent decline in, there is a need. So that's why I'm doing this research. And then accordingly, the purpose of this study was to examine. So you can see that it's so very calculated, right? Yeah. Okay, so and this is what we, in the course that I used to teach at WSU, we teach academic writing and we teach those moves because, again, it's so linear, it's so systematic, you can't just, write sentences here and there, you need to really calculate it. So I'm gonna share with you the interface for CARE. And so this is, self-explanatory. Your search word, you enter your search word here or phrase using lowercase letters. And then this is move code. So if you click on this, it takes you to this. So these are moves, right? So background information, purpose, and then here is the section. So maybe your search word or phrase took place in the abstract to provide background. So this is kind of your key because when you search later, you will see those. So it tells you, okay, so this move, maybe literature review or reference to other studies, it's here, took place in the introduction. So you will need, I always ask my students to leave this open on their browser so that they can go back and see and check when I create tasks using this corpus. Okay, let's go back here. So It's developed by Taiwanese researchers. So you can see that the interface here has some Chinese. So I used Google Translate and asked my Chinese colleagues to translate those for me. This is not really important. It's paging and no paging. So basically, if you want all the results to be listed on one page, or if you want to just click and move through pages. So you can totally ignore this. And then you have here no AWL. So this is the academic word list. If you want words from the academic word list to be prominent in the text, they would be in red. Or no, you don't want that. So if you click here on the drop-down menu, you have AL, which is the default. AL stands for applied linguistics. So what they have here, they have applied linguistics and they have computer science. So you can search full text, or you can maybe search conference abstract or journal abstract. So it depends on what your focus is. I very often have my students just click on all and just look at it all. And if I have more students from computer science major, which is very often was the case at WSU, then I have them focus on computer science. So this is obviously is the search button. So let's see how this works. So here I type my search word argue, and then without specifying anything. So I have argue, and then I click search, and then here you go. So here you have the frequency of the word argue, and then you have it in context. So first we argue that users face numerous challenges, so on. And then here you have the moves. So this took place in the abstract, in the purpose part, abstract methodology, and so on. So if you click on more, I really like this one because it gives you that sentence where in which your search word occurred in, the sentence before it, and the sentence after. So it gives you kind of clear examples of those moves that we talked about. So this is from the abstract purpose. This paper addresses this dilemma. First, okay, so what are we doing about it? First, we argue that users face, and then second, we propose. So this is abstract methodology. Here we have another example. This is in the discussion and results. So in the discussion, this is very common in discussion when you provided your results and then you want to discuss the findings. It's also possible that most of the variance in task performance among students is caused by motivation and then explanation. And then, okay, so you provided an explanation, right? A discussion of your results. Then you have kind of to link it to the move, right? To link your results to your focus, to your theories or your theoretical framework. So here, the results support theories of creativity. And then I lost my cursor. Okay, here. Among these components, creativity, and so you can examine and analyze all those moves. All right, so if we go back to our main interface, so here I have my search word, and now I clicked on academic word list. So I want to see academic word list in prominent in the text. So all of those are from the academic word list: challenges, fundamental, positive, framework, qualitative, and this is really another amazing feature in this platform. All right, so I'm going to share with you how I use this platform. So as a warm-up activity, for example, I had students to use this chart. What words or word sequences can you use to signal the following moves based on their prior knowledge, based on their experience before looking at any corpus data? Complete the second column in the table below by providing at least 3 answers in each cell. And then compare your words with your neighbor. So write them here based on your memory, based on your experience. And then the second task would be to choose one word for each move from question 1, the ones that they wrote, to search in care. And then record their findings here in the third column. What are the common rhetorical moves for the search word? what words tend to collocate with the search word? What do you notice about grammar in terms of form and tense? And then record your findings and share your findings with your partner and compare and talk about your findings. So this is one task. And then another task that I would do is provide them actually with moves, specific moves, like introduce the purpose of or major tasks, indicate a gap or missing information, discuss literature review or reference to other studies. So I gave them the code for the move. And here I want them to do some research using CARE to identify 3 different word sequences used by writers to signal those moves here in the table. To do so, I'm giving them specific examples. Type a move code in the move search box provided in square brackets, and then record your findings here and then discuss your findings with a partner. So this is another sample task that I used for CARE. All right. The last corpus or the last resource that I would like to share with you is Flax. So Flax is really one of my favorites. Well, all of them are my favorites, but I like Flax. So Flax is flexible language acquisition platform. It's a digital library containing various language collections. It's open source. So it's open source. It's totally free. Again, you don't need to create an account to access it, with powerful built-in tools for exploring language patterns. I like it so much because it's designed specifically for teachers and students. So that's the purpose from designing this platform. So, of course, Flax offers authentic language collections from corpus data. It provides access to frequent words, academic words, parts of speech, all of those in context. And students can explore, or you can create activities around language patterns, specifically collocations and lexical bundles. So lexical bundles is just another word for formulaic sequences, formulaic languages, patterns. They're just using different terminologies to refer to the same concept. And it's amazing. It's an amazing resource for independent language practice or for extended learning. It has, you're going to see that it has virtual language games. So students can actually play games using Flax. Okay, so this is the interface. So it has different collections. The ones that I have personally used and created activities around are Flax distributed collections. You know, Flax itself is a presentation itself. Like Flax alone is a presentation itself. So I won't be able to go over everything, but again, it's easy to navigate and it's really self-explanatory, most of the things. So this one, the first collection could be used with intermediate and beginner levels. This is the one that I'm going to focus on, Flax resource collections and the Bridge academic written English collections. So within each collection, there are sub-collections. So today I'm going to focus on learning collocations. So you can see that here they have learning collocations and they have learning academic words and collocations. They added the second one recently. The first one is more comprehensive. It has the second one, like it contains academic words and collocations. So, and both are similar navigation features. So today I'm gonna share with you the first one, learning collocations. So this is how it looks like. You can type your search word here. I have controversial. And then if you click on the drop-down menu here, you have different options. So the default is contemporary English Wikipedia. So you have different areas of study or fields of study. If you want to explore your search word in physical sciences, in general English, using Wikipedia, in social sciences, in life sciences, or just standard English, or in arts and humanities. So here I just want standard English. I want to see collocations with the word controversial. So after you type your word, you just go click go. And then here you go. So you have different patterns. If you scroll down, you'll have more patterns. So we have controversial plus noun. You have adverb plus controversial, controversial plus adjectives. And then here you have all those cherries, so you can save your the collocations that you are interested in and you would like to use later. So if you click on the cherry icon here, then you will find your collocations saved later in my cherry basket. So if you click here, you'll find all the collocations that you saved here in your cherry basket. So there is some good information here. Family words for your search words. So the different family words. If you click on synonyms, it provides you with synonyms for your search word and antonyms. So let's take an example. So all of those are clickable. So if you click on this collocation, it gives you kind of more collocations. So controversial issue, or you want plural, controversial issues, controversial political issue, and so on. So if you click on one of the collocations, it gives you the collocation in context in a complete sentence. So you can see how it's used in context. So if we click on activities here, and I'm not going to go in detail, but I just want to show you that this is available for students. So if you click on activities, it takes you to learning collocations, different activities. Those are games. They automatically graded, and students get instant feedback. So collocation matching, collocation dominoes, related words, collocation guessing, and so on. All right, so this was kind of a brief introduction to the part of the collocation section. Again, it's so easy to navigate, and if you just play with it for a few times, you will get how to use it and how to navigate it. All right, the second collection that I would like to highlight in this platform is this one, the British Academic Written English Collections. So we have here 4 areas of study or fields, and each contain those disciplines like social sciences, anthropology, law, and politics. We have English here in the arts and humanities, engineering and physical sciences, and psychology and life sciences, and so on. So, and then we have another sub-collection here for useful words for academic writing in general. So these are kind of similar. The interface within each sub-collection is similar. I'm gonna click on social sciences just to give you a brief overview of what it each offers. So you can browse the collection by genre. So we have different genre here, and here we're looking at social sciences, and this would differ from one field to the other, the genre. So maybe here you have empathy writing, but you won't find this in physical sciences. So we have documents by genre, and then all of those are clickable. Those are essays or papers within those collections. So we have, these are case studies, and then here if we click on critique, you have a list of critiques. So let's just click on the first one to see what we can do with that. So if we click on the first title, you have the essay or the paper here. This is kind of interactive. You can do different things here. So if you click on word list, for example, you can have the academic word lists here prominent in the text. You can, even if you click on the drop-down menu, you can just look maybe at the 1,000 most frequent words and so on. So it gives you different options. You can also have adjectives highlighted if you click on adjectives, nouns, or verbs. So here we have nouns. And then if you click on any of those nouns, then you can collect that and save it in your cherry basket. So you can revisit it later if you want to review or if you want to learn those or use them in your writing. So if we go back, so we looked at browsing by genre, we can browse by discipline. So if we click on this, then you have within social sciences, you have different disciplines. So again, and it's the same thing. You click on the article, it takes you to the article. You can also explore collocations in your collection. So here we're in the social sciences collection. So if we click on collocations, you have a list of all the academic words in this collection. And all of those are clickable. So we click on one, abundant here, for example, and then it gives you collocations, abundant factor, and so on. If you click on a specific word in the collocation, if you click on the dot, it gives you sentences, complete sentences with your collocation. If you click on this, it takes you back to the learning collocation collection. All right. So this was for collocations. Then if we click here on word lists, a word list, then it gives you all the academic word lists. Again, you can change this to frequent words and so on. And then don't forget the cherry here. You can save those academic words. If we click on one, and then we're given examples. If you click on the arrow, it gives you more examples. I like this one, lexical bundles or language formulas. So if we click on this, it gives you all the kind of frequent sequences in this collection in the social sciences. So here, collocations, or lexical bundles or language formulas at the beginning of a sentence. On the other hand, comma, that. So if you click on that, then again, you're giving a complete sentence. You also can explore collocate or lexical bundles in the middle of a sentence as a result of that, at the end of that. And you have also the option to explore useful bundles in general. And this is really important. So these are some chunks that you can use in your writing to indicate attitude. For example, it's important to note, it's interesting to note, to express certainty or uncertainty. And then you have, it could be argued that you have other useful bundles to express relation sentence, to refer to text stages, and so on. And again, all of those are clickable. So you click, you get the whole sentence. All right, so we explored the sub-collection here, social sciences. Again, the rest have the same navigational options or features, just different text and different fields or disciplines within the field. So the last thing I'm going to show today is this useful words for academic writing. So if you click on this, you can first choose the discipline you want. So here I have arts and humanities. And then you have different things. You can explore how I is used, or if it's commonly used in this specific discipline. So you can click on that and see examples. If by clicking on the plus sign here. So I'm going to show you common reporting verbs. This is very helpful. I use it with my students because, you know, sometimes they use like the same thing. The author said, the author said, the author says. So I want them to use different reporting verbs. So this is a good resource for that. So if you click here, then you would see reporting verbs that they can use to present ideas or use, show, state, study, describe, and so on. Reporting verbs that they can use to question or disagree, debate, attack, oppose, to argument or persuade, and so on, to suggest. And again, all of those are clickable. So if you click on one, you're given more examples. Another one that I would like to highlight here, useful adjectives. So if you click on the plus sign here, then you would be given useful adjectives that students can use in their writing to, for example, relate to importance, like important, significant, necessary, salient, and so on, to relate to quality, and so on. So those are different kind of verbs that, instead of using, you know, good and those simplistic adjectives that students tend to use in their writing, they can enrich their writing by using different adjectives. All right, so I'm going to share with you, of course, I have used different collections with those I just showed students and let them go and explore. I have used specific tasks or developed specific tasks. For example, when I teach problem solution writing. So in this task, you will explore the collocational patterns of the following problem solution markers through Flax. go to the learning collections and Flax resource collections. And then I want them to explore collocations for those nouns as nouns and for those verbs that we can use when we write problem solution papers. And then find two collocations under each of the following patterns. Write them down and save them in my cherry basket. So I want them to specifically search for their search word plus an adjective before it, their a verb, and then their search word, and so on. And then here I'm asking them to use some of the collocations in complete sentences, describe a problem. So this is their task. And it's usually a pre-writing task before they start writing their actual research project topic, the problem solution paper. So I just want to train them to use some of those collocations for problem solution. So propose two possible solutions and select the most effective solution and explain why it's better than the other solutions. Just a very short paragraph. Remember to use problem solution collocations, and then I have them share with the class. All right, so this was with Flax. Again, Flax has a lot to offer. So please, if you could take some time later to explore it, it has very rich things that students can use. So that's it. I think I did it within the time, right?
Yes,
thank you so much. And please let me know if you have any questions. So I see in the chat, someone's asking, will be able to get a copy of the PowerPoint? Yes, I would send it to Ms. Nadira, and then if you could please share it, that would be great.
Yes, thank you so much, Iman, for the very kind of insightful and informative presentation. There are a lot for us to, I think, process. But yeah, the slides will help, I think. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. It was very informative, super informative.
Thank you.
And the last one, Flax, and all of them, you mostly use them in teaching writing. Yes, how to teach writing, improve their writing skills, develop their research writing skills. Mostly.
Yeah, so especially, you know, the tasks, I was hoping to share more tasks that I have developed, but it's just because of the time. So yes, I've used it in writing. It's kind of part of a component of all of my writing classes, but I have also used I've used it in teaching vocabulary in general to build their repertoire of calculation of collocations and to improve their lexical competence in general. So I have used it in other like reading classes to help them notice vocabulary in context or collocation. There is a corpus that I haven't shared with you today. I shared it at the very beginning of the presentation, the My Case, the Michigan corpus of spoken text. I've used that corpus in academic listening and discussion. And basically to kind of extract signals or collocations or formulaic language that students can use when they do presentations, academic presentations, or do discussions. So you can look at that one. It's free and you can access it and play with it. It's really informative. The one I mentioned earlier, the My Case, if you want to use it in academic listening and discussion. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for this question.
Okay, any other questions?
For my case, yes. So let me find it for you very quick.
Can I ask a question while you are searching? Have you ever used, or do you have any suggestions of using this corpus analysis for lower levels? Like, because mainly I think it's very good, works very good for like EAP, right? So the higher levels.
Right.
What about the lower levels?
Well, yes. So the first collection in Flax is designed for beginner and intermediate English language learners. So let me maybe quick Flax. Cool. So I can show you quick. I have it saved here. So this one, if you look at this one, okay, can you see my screen with Flax?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this one is designed for beginner intermediate language learners. So the best password is it's a magazine. So the developers of this platform are from New Zealand, the University of New Zealand, and this is a magazine in New Zealand targeting English language learners. So if you see here, you have different readings, small, very short passages, different levels. And if you click one, for example, this one, the beekeeper, it's level 1. And you can see the text is very simple sentences, no complex sentences. They can actually listen to the audio. They can hear the text read to them. They can click on word list and then see the most frequent words here. Or maybe I have used it with keywords. And then by looking at the keywords, I ask them, what do they think the paragraph is about? We can see here, honey, beehive, gym. So it's about very likely about bees and the beekeeper, right? So, and then they can look at adjectives. I like that it provides the adjective and the noun that it describes. So this is really good. And then noun and so on. So we have used those. And then there are activities within this collection for lower and beginner English language learners. So I have used this. Earlier in my teaching, I used Coca. I developed very simple activities for Coca, but then I quit using Coca because it's a little problematic with navigating it. So, but with very clear instructions, I was able to, have my beginner and intermediate level students benefit from it.
Yeah,
right.
Splendid. Thank you so much. Yeah, it seems like a gem, right? So we need to explore that, right? So thank you so much for the insight and for the very comprehensive presentation. So, so you got the Iman's email if you have any further questions, right? So you can
thank you, everyone.
her, right? Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.